fear love due to how I have to get vulnerable. I'm very scared of being hurt. It's because sometimes, like, when you grow up with certain people as a kid, when you show your vulnerability to that person as a child, it doesn't end up well. You get hurt instead. And so now you just kind of apply that same logic to your friends, which doesn't make sense, I know. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week for Healing Diaries episode 2, we are going to be talking about my fear of love, but at the same time, I desire intimacy. This is an issue that I've dealt with for the entirety of my life, basically. It's why I'm in therapy. I would trade a lot of things to get this fixed. For those who don't understand, you might be like, what do you mean by like you fear love, but at the same time you desire love? I'm only going to be speaking about my experience and solely my experience. I fear love due to how I have to get vulnerable. For those who don't know, I'm a fearful avoidant. It's like I crave love. I really want love. I'm both, very anxious and also very avoidant with it. I remember in the past when I did have my talking stages, it was always very mixed signals. And I've never dated anyone, but I had talking stages. I never really went on a date. I would say it's usually like I would download dating apps and I would talk to these people. It's at the same time I wanted the attention, right? A validation almost. Whenever we talked, I just realized I don't want to meet up, and I realized that the reason why I don't want to meet up is because I'm very scared. I'm very scared of being hurt. It's like I have so much love to give, but in romantic settings, I cannot do it because I always put my best self out there. I put on this mask and I really want to be liked, but that's not the real me. People might just be, well, you put the real you. But the thing is that if I like someone, I want them to like me. So I'll be extra nice, extra, extra. But that's not me consistently. And then I get really scared. I'm like, this is not the real me. And I create this version of me that they like. If I show them the real me, they might not like me. And that I feel like could be untrue because who knows, someone might like the real me. I don't trust people. I really don't. It's like, I feel like they're gonna betray me. I feel like if I do get into a relationship, they might be trust issues, and it's very exhausting to deal with. And for those who, before you say anything, I am aware I'm a red flag. I'm aware, that's why I don't date. There's another argument saying that
you can't wait to be perfect to date.
There's not going to be a right time for you to date. And I get that. And people are like, sometimes you can fix your issues through these relationships, right? Like you get to know yourself better. But at the same time, sometimes I just feel like I just know what's going to go wrong. I know what's going to go wrong. So what is the point of me even trying to do this? Because I just feel it's very unfair for the other person. Or it might just be me making an excuse for me to just be safe and not date anyone, right? But it doesn't solely come down to dating. It can come down to friendships as well. Maybe like because of my nature, I guess I attract people who are similar to me, like anxious, avoidant attachment styles. I don't do it on purpose. It's a weird thing because when you grow up in a certain environment, you carry on those issues with you. And then when you carry on those issues with you, you attract the same type of people, even though you don't want to. So it's very fucked up, right? I don't want to attract those people. And they're not always bad. It really just comes down to that communication and vulnerability aspect of it. And some examples that can be shown with my desire to be connected to someone or just have that bond is how quickly I attach to someone, especially with friends or a female. We'll just click really quick and it will be, oh my god, let's play another time, let's hang out again. And I realize I get too attached to them way too fast without even really getting to know them. So like I just wanted someone with me so bad to have that friend, but I don't understand them that well. They probably think the same for me. We both don't know each other that well. And then once I slowly get to know them, I'm like, okay, they're not who I think they are. And usually it's fine if you realize your friend is not compatible. They have certain flaws. Everyone has flaws. It's up to you if you want to accept them or not. Usually like I'll accept the flaws, but there's a trigger point, there's an issue, there's a conflict. And my fear of vulnerability, I can't communicate. I can't communicate what's wrong. And the same goes for them. They cannot communicate what's wrong. And both of us would just not communicate what's going on, and then we would just not talk. And usually for me, I would do a really petty thing. I'll just unfollow them on Instagram and just not talk to them. I don't usually block people, and usually when that happens, they just block me. Just don't talk, and there's no sort of conversation. And to be very honest with this, it's a bad thing for me to do. Like it's really bad. Like it's like I shouldn't just unfollow them. Like I should talk to them. But at the same time, my logic is just that they're not saying anything to me. Why should I say anything to them? Sometimes I should be the bigger person. I should say something, but it's just so scary to me. And you'd be like, what is so scary? It's because sometimes like when you grow up with certain people, as a kid, when you show your vulnerability to that person as a child, it doesn't end up well. You get hurt instead. And so now you just kind of apply that same logic to your friends, which doesn't make sense, I know, but it's just a defense mechanism. It was a survival instinct. And now it's like, because as a kid, you got hurt so bad when you show your vulnerability. As an adult, it's like you just want to protect yourself. And you just want to protect yourself. Like you just don't want to open up, and you feel it's not worth it. It's not worth to go through that like emotional crisis that you did as a kid. But it's like sometimes we have to learn that our friends are not our caregivers or guardians. Like they're not going to treat us the same way. But it's just something very hard to unlearn, especially when you're dealing with another person who has an anxious or avoidant attachment style. Both of you can't communicate. So what is going on? One of you guys have to make the move, and it's hard. I don't even want to exaggerate. Like, it just generally feels like a life or death situation, like, honestly. My fear of being vulnerable significantly outweighs my desire to be loved. I feel I have more to lose. I feel like if there's like one thing that they did, I just feel like, oh my god, they're gonna leave me, they're gonna abandon me, they don't want me, they don't care that much about me. Sometimes, like, when you break off from them, you want that attention from them. I almost want them to be, hey, don't go, let's talk it out. For me, it's like a very childlike type of like tantrum almost. I feel bad about it. Like, I'm like, it's a very big flaw of mine. I'm an adult. Like, I should be able to talk about this. At the same time, a part of me is also like, I just want to break this off. I just want to leave the situation. I don't want to talk about it. At the same time, you want to talk about it. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it because it's scary to be confronted with things. And even now, it's like I get really scared of being confronted. Even now, for me, I think I've gotten better in past friendships. Like, if something bothers me, I would tell them. I'll text them being like, hey, that really bothered me. It doesn't really end up well. Either I feel like maybe I could word it better, word it softer. Usually when they apologize, they're like, I'm sorry you feel that way. This is a tip for people out there. If your friend that you really care about said that, hey, this really hurt me, you should never say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because it's almost like you bear no responsibility of what you've done. Instead, you should say that, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Because it's not about your intentions. Sometimes, yes, your intentions can matter, but sometimes when you hurt another being, the impact matters more than the intention. Even if you didn't mean a bad intention, it negatively impacted them, and you did that, right? So you need to take responsibility of that. I think I got some questions before, like, how did you get into therapy? But basically what happened was that ex-friend of mine, basically, she did something really fucked up. It's like, I don't hate her, but it's just generally, even till this day, I don't understand why she did it. I was supposed to house with this girl. I had to ask her, like, do you still want to house together next year? And she told me out of the blue that she wasn't going to do that. She was going to house someone else. And I'm like, you could have told me, because it's late in the housing process, because now I don't have a place to live. Yeah, and because of that, that led me to a mental breakdown. And I remembered that was when I booked therapy. I was like, I got too attached to this girl. And it's my fault. I attached myself too much to her. I didn't think that I would be the type to go to therapy, honest. I just felt like it was not for me. I would never do it. And then here I am. 1 year in therapy. Therapy, honestly, it really helps. Being vulnerable with a person is very, very scary to me. Them seeing you bare. Them seeing you naked, basically. Like, when I have arguments, I feel very shameful. I feel like now they saw a part of me that I don't want them to see. So my biggest flaws is that I'm not as patient, to be honest. I get annoyed pretty fast, and if things don't go my way, I would get upset. And it's also due to like my own insecurities. And if I get triggered, I don't communicate. I'll just keep it in, and then it will show, because I felt like I don't want to lead it to a bigger conflict, even though at the end, in reality, it's already leading to a conflict. Like, sometimes I think about through my past friendships, I genuinely just think that we just weren't compatible. Some values weren't shared. And something that I actually talked to my therapist today was the fact that you can't change people. I feel like sometimes, like, when I can get close enough to a person, I feel like I could change them. I could show them a different perspective on things. And that can get very exhausting, and that could get really stressful, because you feel like you bear the responsibility to change. But let me tell you, you have no responsibility to change people. People don't change that easily. Changing for a person is very, very difficult. You just need to accept the fact of who they are. Accepting does not mean approving. I've had friendships where I had my own faults, and I just felt like we were just not compatible. Sometimes I really do think that, what if we just communicated? What if we talked it out? I've done it a few times, but at the end, it still led to a fallout. These habits that you had as a child, it's hard to get rid of. You know, it takes time, and it's sometimes I'm just like, when can I get better? I feel like in some ways, I'm still like a hopeless romantic, being like, oh, maybe someday my person will be there and they would understand me. But at the same time, it's just, in reality, I constantly think of it as wasting time. I find it kind of embarrassing sometimes, especially on the topic of romantic love. I think maybe because I just haven't seen that many real life healthy relationships, to be honest. I can see them on like social media. I see really great romance stories and like anime and like dramas, TV shows. That's fictional, right? So yeah, I just feel I don't have much faith in it. There's also a part of me just really scared of going through the emotional side of, a lot of my bad sides will come out if I date, you know, being clingy or wanting attention. But those are my needs. I feel like I need to accept that, but at the same time, it's just something I'm still dealing with. I feel like everyone changes, and I feel like if I really do label myself, I just feel like I'll be scared to change. You know, I won't live up to the label, which is why I don't like to label myself, because everything's very fluid, and especially with social media, like, people will come for you. people just want to conform you to a box, which is why I stay unlabeled. And sometimes you guys are like, oh, you might be like a romantic or something. Let's just not do labels. Let's just not label me, okay? These days, I've been working a lot on myself. I try to not have fear consume me. I try to pick up on my hobbies and realize I deserve something. I deserve to try new things. I still have a hard time going about relationship with other people because I'm just scared. My insecurity just floods over me. And I have this bad habit where like I sometimes just put people on a pedestal because I don't understand them as much. So I build this image of them. Once I get to know them, it's like I'm like, oh my god, they didn't live up to the standard. They're a bad person, XYZ. They're so bad. You see how fucked up that is? You see how weird that is? Let them be human. And these days, like I feel I'm getting better at like not attaching myself to people really quick. I just want to slowly get to know them. And sometimes I feel like because I started therapy a year ago, I just sometimes feel like, have I changed? Have I? Like I feel like a lot of aspects of myself has changed where like I'm more accepting of my passions and my dreams. I take a bit more risk. I'm being more true to myself in some ways, but a lot of the flaws of myself has stayed consistent, especially with the vulnerability with other people. I really hope the comment section is not about to be like, hey, we can date, because I feel like whenever I talk about this, like, oh, I've never dated or I'm a fear of love, there's always some man in the comment that you're so pretty to be single or I'll take you on a date. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. That's not the point of the video. I don't want to see comments like that. The fact is that I feel everything can coexist. Like I enjoy my alone time, but at the same time, I do want that human connection. I just feel like I tend to attract people who are similar to me, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. It's nice when you can help each other out, but it's bad when you guys both suffer from the same issues like vulnerability and communication. None of you guys are really willing to take the first step. I want to change. I genuinely do. I really do want to change. It's just, it's hard. It's scary. And I genuinely just want people to be patient with me. It's very hard because I was a kid. It's just that when you get triggered, you just want to immediately leave the situation, right? But I need to slowly unlearn that. Right? I need to get better. That is it for my Healing Diaries episode 2. Why I fear love. Hopefully this helps some of you guys. It's just something that I suffer through. I just generally want you guys to know that you're not alone. Those of you going through this. This is something I'm healing from. I wish I could sit here and give you the advice and be like, oh my god, I can be totally vulnerable with people now. But I can't. I haven't. I think at the end it's just I just want to protect myself. I just want to protect my inner child and I want to be emotionally stable. And I find that to be the easiest when I am alone. That's it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Recently there has been, I saw that there was a Canada wildfire that happened. There was a lot of news on air quality in New York. Like it was really, really bad. I live in Boston. Air quality was bad as well. I didn't go out. It just makes me really sad because climate change is real, guys. We should all do our part to protect the environment. No matter how little that you're doing it still matters. Sometimes it just makes me really sad that how we're just slowly destroying our own home. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys all stay safe. You guys are eating well and you guys are staying healthy. I'll see you guys all very, very soon. Bye!